What are you running from? My life of sports begins on the track stadium. It is here on this track where I am always guilt-tripped by my white peers for my athletic abilities. Many claiming to coaches and classmates that it's unfair and presume that they will not win against me constantly. Interestingly enough, I realized this common stereotype was not used in comparison by whites while inside of the classroom to measure academic intelligence. I felt safe knowing I had at least one recognizable advantage or skill against white people. I could run. I had a swiftness to me, an agility, and I was fast. I assumed I could run from my fears and my shortcomings, but I couldn't run from my history, the foundation of my being. My ancestors were on this very track 400 years ago and have been running toward what seemed impossible generation after generation. Liberty, justice, freedom, and volition of silenced voices, bodies, and intellect. We cannot bear another 400 years of this fight. Of course you are fast, strong, and overpowered. You are black. They run away from the police and are criminals, I was told by my white peers. It was here where I began to unpack this assumption and challenge this idea by realizing that our autonomy of self was not recognized in the racist, colonialist, and sexist lens of the majority. As seen in Sarah Bartman, we witnessed the duality of the exploitation and reverence for black bodies. Black men and black women are relegated to cultural spaces of body and brawn or physicality. The underlying message is that accomplishment in one area of body and physical is antithetical to recognition and achievement in another, such as the intellectual realm of intelligence, stated by Harris in 2018. She was stripped of her autonomy and dignity by whites claiming ownership and exhibition of her body. This brings the question of how we see critical race theory and intersectionality show up in today's world. Critical race theory counters and challenges commonly used notions related to the denial and concealment of fundamental racism. This translates to how the being of racism and its social, historical, and economic constructs have bled out onto every level of societal interaction in the racialized peoples who suffer within them. Critical race theory is shown when my white peers and teachers would attempt to predetermine who I am and what I'm capable of before I did. I was told I was better at sports than pursuing future academics. I was not shackled by the ankles with physical chains, but they've now evolved into invisible chains of oppression, and I was still told to run because I can get anywhere if I keep running, right? Run from fear, discouragement, from who they led me to believe I was, because a running black man is a threat, they said, like Ahmaud Arbery. Do you sense the familiarity yet? Running is not an unfamiliar action of the black race. Harriet Tubman had to run. Angela Davis of the Black Panthers had to run. Ida B. Wells had to run. Frederick Douglass had to run, among many others, from the shackles of racism and white supremacy. To survive, you must run. Looking at the manifestations of racism through the prism of continuity and change, the continuity of the upheld image of criminality, animalistic, out of control, and violent tendencies related to the stereotypical black male. It felt as though my life was being infiltrated by every space and institution I entered. It was, but I didn't have a word for it until the coined term of intersectionality, which directly made sense of my experience. I was a black, male, lower middle class with little education who could run fast. I just loved running. I loved being seen somewhere, even if it was for a faint minute. I was seen. Captivated by the speed, I pushed to get a second faster, and another second faster, to race against whatever stood in my way. The question of racism's existence within sport is unquestionable. The powers that reside externally behind every medal, trophy, goal, and score made is a lustful performance of puppeteering by the very strings of silencing and oppression. Black people have grown into a comfortability and routine nature of survival mode and hypervigilance, resembling true to the survival of the fittest. But this draws the question of, when will we stop surviving and start living as a race of people? This is a marathon, not a sprint. This is why I'm running. I'm running for my life as a Black man.